All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Vays. It is not too early in the morning. I don't know, time got away from me early this morning. Slept in a little bit. So it's time for the morning stream on this Saturday. So you have always watched me drink tea. But Bitcoin breaks 20,000. And I've prepared my usual glass that I sometimes do in the evening with Bitcoin ice cubes. Check these bad boys out. And I will let the audience decide what I'm drinking this morning because this bad boy is sitting right next to my desk. I also just realized that I need to go to the farmer's market and buy food, probably a lot of it, because there might be food shortages. So if the poll does win in the next 5 minutes, when at least 500 people join the stream, that's going to be only a single because I will have to drive soon. All right. All right, let's go to the charts. I will wait till, how many people answered the poll? All right, we'll need at least 100 votes. With 100 votes, the odds are not going to change. We're at 86 votes. 98 votes. All right, we got 60-40 split here. All right, tequila it is. That's what we're drinking this morning. Like I said, it's just going to be a single. It is pretty early in the morning. There you go. Chess. Yeah, the chess game just started too. So my good friend Rajabov tied. It was a draw. All right, let's go to screen share. Oh man, I'm also keeping an eye on the Ukraine situation. If you guys watch the military summary channel, Jesus, it doesn't look good for Ukrainians. The last video he had, not the last video, the video before his last video was not good. There you go. They're sitting down. And here they go. So here are the matchups for today. So yesterday, Rajabov is a fan of this show. So we are fans of him and rooting for him in this tournament. He tied the third best player in the world, Faruja. It was good that he tied. He really was winning most of that game. I really thought he had a chance to win. The upset was Ding. I think Ding is the second best player in the world. And he lost to, I can't even pronounce this name, Napalm Chichi, who I believe is Russian, but he denounced Russia in order to play in this tournament, so he doesn't even have a Russian flag next to his name. So today, Rajabov is playing Nakamura, and Nakamura has already lost, so he's going to be extra motivated to stay in this tournament. It's like a round robin. Everyone plays each other 2 times, and then you see who has the most points at the end of the rounds. Okay, let's go to the charts. And we are drinking tequila early in the morning. Weekly chart, holy shit. We have completely pulled back to the prior all-time high. So how long did it take? We pulled back to the all-time high. What do we got here? Oh, this is weeks and it looks like days. Okay. 200 35 weeks apart. Now, here's what I want to see. Remember that time when I thought we can pull back to 1300, but we never did? How many weeks did that take? When was the low? 264 bars. You saw that, right? Let me do it again. 263 weeks. So a little bit longer. A little bit longer. So what happened right now, what happened here right now, pulling all the way back to the prior swing high, is what I expected back in the 2018 bear market. And it wasn't a bad expectation. I know it never made it all the way down there, but you can see that right now, us falling down to 20,000 back tests this area. So the call itself has fundamentals in technical analysis, okay? Has fundamentals in technical analysis. Now, another thing we need to check. How far did we fall price-wise off the top in the last bear market? 83%. How far did we fall in this bear market off the top price? I know the bear market started there, but we're going off the top price. There's time and there's price. They measure differently. We only fell 72%. So we're only down 72% this time around versus 83% last time around. That's a pretty significant difference. If we are to match the price drop of 82%, the price of Bitcoin will go down to $13,000. Well, $12,000, which I believe is the new liquidation level for Celsius. What was the other company that froze all withdrawals today? So I wake up this morning and the first news I see is some other shitcoin casino stopping withdrawals and probably going illiquid, getting liquidated. Wow, we're at 70% tequila versus tea. Damn, you guys are brutal. I mean, 12,000 is now realistic. I agree. It is realistic. I would hate to see it go below this line. Wherever this line is, below this line, shit gets very scary. Very scary. This is 11,000. If you remember Tyler Jenks's old videos back here in early 2019 in this area, he had like 11,000 as a very critical level. I never understood why Tyler Jenks had 11,000 as a critical level, but he had it as a very critical level. As long as we stay above 11,000, life is okay. Babel Finance, thank you. I don't know what the hell Babel Finance is, but it sounds terrible. It sounds like something you should never invest a single penny in. Which tequila am I drinking? So due to the current market downturn, I am doing two things when it comes to tequila. One, I'm not able to afford new high quality tequilas. And by high quality, I mean like $100 bottles of tequila. And two, the nice $100 bottles of tequila, I am not drinking because I will not have the money to replace them. So I went for the best tequila I had on the shelf, which is Chile Caliente. It's an añejo and it's been aged 3 years, and it's a pretty good tequila for a sub $50 bottle. In case anyone's wondering what my favorite tequila is, Clase Azul Reposado is a good tequila, but it's grossly overpriced. I prefer the 1942 by Don Julio, which is aged significantly longer at approximately the same price, but I think it's a way better tequila than the Clase Azul Reposado. But my ultimate favorite it's a favorite at a price level. So my favorite tequila, sub $220. I mean, you should get it for under $220 if you're in Mexico. If you're in the US, it'll cost you $300. If you're in Dubai, it'll cost you $3,000. It's the Herradura Selection Suprema Extra Añejo. At a Mexican airport, you should not pay more than $225. I once bought it for $190. I've also bought like buy two, get one free deals at like $220 each. So you get 3 bottles for $440. That is my favorite tequila, sub $250. I am looking to move to Mexico. Between the avocados that I eat daily and the tequila and the grass-fed beef, Mexico is perfect. So we are right now at the prior all-time high from 2017, and that's a good area for a potential reversal. However, like everything now seems bearish. Like there's definitely blood on the streets. So I woke up to the good news that Babel Finance is being recognized as a Ponzi scheme. That's great news. That's how markets bottom. Here is the shitty news. And right after that, I glanced at shitcoins. You know, the usual scams like B-Trash and Ethereum and Litecoin and all of them. And they are all rising like crazy during this crash. So because the shitcoins are rallying against Bitcoin, that completely negated all the great news of Babel Finance going bankrupt, that the market could finally bottom. And by watching the shitcoins rise this morning, it made me ultra pessimistic that we are not yet at the bottom of the price of Bitcoin. Like these shitcoins need to die. It might be the only way for Bitcoin to reverse. So I got good news and I got bad news. Every time a Babel Finance goes insolvent, and hopefully the creators of these scams end up in prison, that is good news for a market bottom. Every time shitcoins rally as Bitcoin crash, that is an indication that the bottom is not yet found. Let's move on. This is the allocation chart. Normally, you know, Consensio proved to be very right. Let me just tell you that. This shows you that had I wrote a bot and not have any human emotion or thought with the bot would have shorted the shit out of Bitcoin right here when the moving averages crossed over, and it would have stayed in a bearish position the entire freaking time. And that is the frustrating part, is that Consensio was right. I was wrong, but Consensio was right. The whole point of this entire chart was to trade Tyler Jenks's Consensio. And Consensio was absolutely right. At no point since the start of this candle, at no point since April 11th, did Consensio tell you to do anything other than be 100% short Bitcoin. That's what Consensio said. You can look at it in hindsight. You can see at no point did the short-term moving average get above the intermediate, and right after May 1st, the intermediate moving average never got above the long term. Consensio did its job. Consensio did its job. It was not wrong. I have no idea what Finbox is, but it's obviously a scam Ponzi. And we know what Celsius. Celsius is like Celsius needs to go down. Like if Celsius survives this bear market, then like we're not removing scams from the system. And if we don't remove scams from the system, then the system can't actually recover. It's like you can't get healthy if there is still like God, I don't want to use the V word. If there is still what's another word? I don't want to use the word virus. Anyway, you can't get healthy if there's still nasty pathogens in your body. You have to purge those. You have to heal those. Like the crypto ecosystem cannot get healthy and on the right track until garbage gets purged out of the system. And Celsius is that garbage. So until all of these finance DeFi companies have completely gone bankrupt and purged out of the system, it's going to be very difficult for Bitcoin to reverse. Infection, thank you. Parasites, thank you. Like Luna was just one scammy project out of 1,000 projects. We need at least, 5 to probably more. We need at least a dozen Lunas. We need at least a dozen Lunas. And the scope of Luna was about what, 40 billion? We need at least a dozen of those, at least. Are we really going to 17K? We can. We can. So what do we do here? What do we do now, right? So the only reason for this small bullish trade was to take advantage of the worst drop from the long, like the worst distance from the long-term moving average Bitcoin has had in probably 7 years. And now we're sitting lower. Significantly lower. Okay. Now, here's the only other good news I have for you. We are on an MRI buy, and I got my wish. I got the MRI buy on a candle that crashed into a low. Whoa, did we break 19,000 this morning? No, we did not. We came close. The low was 19,183. So I'm going to do another video. No, wait, I have a dinner tonight. Shoot. I may not be able to do a video tonight. I may be able to do a video tonight. I'm going to try to do a video tonight. And I'm going to do spaces tomorrow. I think I'm going to do spaces on Sundays. I think there's so many like people doing spaces that I think I'm going to do my spaces on Sundays. CME gap. No, I don't care. I don't care about CME gap. I never did. We're at 900 viewers this morning. Wow. So this is my only good news for you. My only good news for you is that we are on an MRI buy, and I do trust this indicator that I wrote, right? So I trust the MRI buy. Now there's still 9 hours to go. Are we going to make a lower low today? I don't know. But here's the situation. And I'll be the first to admit, Consensio did not fail. Me trying to trade Consensio failed, but Consensio did not fail. There's human bias involved in everything, which is why I want to take a break and write a couple of bot trading. I want to write a Consensio bot, and I want to write an MRI bot, and I want to see how they do, and then maybe I'll attempt to combine the two. So I have a rule, and the rule is never add to losing positions. That's a rule. That's a tone-based rule number 1. Those of you that have taken my courses, and if you're interested in my courses, on tonevays.com, products and services, on-demand videos, you get the tone-based courses. In both risk and position management and trading analysis, I talk about the tone-based rules. And there is rule number 1, never add to a losing position. Here is a position. Here is proof that the position is losing money. Rule number 1 says never add to a bullish position. There is one exception to rule number 1. And that exception is if you are holding into a losing position and you have room to double down, like you put in a small position with the anticipation of doubling down, which I did not really do. But the other part of exception to rule number 1 is at a lower price level, you have a better reason to go long than the first time. And the fact that we are sitting on an MRI buy, and we were not sitting on an MRI buy 3 days ago when that position was entered right here at 21, I think. The fact that we are on an MRI buy today on a daily scale has a better reason to go long than when the position was entered. If this was not an MRI buy, there is absolutely no way I would even consider adding to a losing position. And I would absolutely be getting out at the open of the candle. Had to sneeze and finally muted in time. So, but I will wait till the middle of the day because I don't know if it's going lower today or not. I really don't know. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. Let's check. Did they start playing chess? They did. The games are... Why isn't this like live? Why are we there? I don't understand what this is. Is this yesterday's games? Oh, it is yesterday's games. It's round 1. Okay, that explains it. There we go. Should be round 2. There we go. There he is. There's Rajabov. Whoa. No, I don't want it. Hey, I want to do a shout out to a friend of mine. Spent a bunch of time last night talking some nutrition. Check out his book. He's still writing it. I think he published a piece of his book, PhD in nutritional science. This was going to be my future path. I was going to, like, by this time, this is 2022, I wanted to get my nutrition blog up and running, not my political blog up and running. Back in, right before the pandemic, I was interested in scaling back on my Bitcoin stuff and getting into the nutrition world. because I was in the best shape of my life in 2019, physically, nutritionally, working out every day. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna switch to focusing more on nutrition and exercise, maybe go get my master's in nutritional science. And then COVID hit and everything changed. And now I'm looking for a political blog. But shout out to Chris. He also trades the MRI, posts about it quite often. I do have to scroll a little bit. It will show up somewhere. He does reply. But yeah, check out his nutritional work. Does consulting on nutrition as well, if you're interested, guys. Okay, before we go back to the charts, the financial summit is coming to the Dominican Republic. We are still on pace to do this event. So come and join us. I rented this entire castle. Oh, it's going to show up when the video stops playing. There it is. See the castle in the background there. This is a picture from Dubai. I'm not reporting the tequila. I got to drive somewhere after. Do I have internet? What's going on? Anyway, follow us on Instagram, the financial summit, and Twitter. Okay, daily chart. How is the funding rate doing? See, the funding rate is not crashing. That is very, very strange. Funding rate is not crashing. Let's see how the market's closed. Yeah, so I had absolutely no idea that 3 aces. Let me go to my notifications. Hey, Jimmy G. Guys, you should also follow Jimmy G. I have been here. This exists. Jimmy G is building a Bitcoin citadel. He's got a nice chunk of land somewhere in Mexico. I'm not going to say where. I will be absolutely a part of this project. I have gotten to know Jimmy G over the years. This is going to be my future hideout when shit hits the fan in the US. And Jimmy G and I agree on so many things when it comes to crypto, when it comes to, living life healthy. And I have been here. This is not a Photoshop picture. This is the first structure that he built on this land. And hopefully there'll be more of it. Another Twitter account that I'm friends with. Okay, where am I going? What was I going to do? I was going to show you guys something. What was it? I already forgot. Oh, yeah. So, this is me riding the bus. Hey, bear market hits us all hard, right? So, it's me riding the bus. Watching a suicide safety net being put up on a 60-year-old bridge that the only way to be on this bridge is with a car. Explain to me why there is a suicide safety net going up on a bridge that you can't walk or ride a bike on. They are having they must be having a problem with people jumping. They have to. There's no other reason to put up the safety net. So this could be the worst recession in American history coming up. Though this bridge didn't exist during the Great Depression, it came after. But yeah, Yeah, the 2008 recession didn't put up this net. So yeah, the government's scared that this is going to be a bad one. Yeah, I was about to tell you how stock market closed, but I went to Twitter for a reason. I'm trying to remember what that reason was. That's why I'm scrolling through my notifications. What the hell was that reason? I get a lot of notifications. Maybe it'll come back to me. Oh, I remember. Shoot, where was it? I gotta go to, I remember now. This is what I was gonna show you guys. I gotta go to tweets and replies. I gotta go to profile, tweets and replies. This right here. Boom. So these are the biggest holders of GBTC. Holy shit, Three Arrows Capital was holding 39 million shares of GBTC. Holy shit. I did not know that. Three Arrows Capital is holding more shares of GBTC than the Digital Currency Group. Now, the Digital Currency Group is a company owned by Barry Silbert's Grayscale. This is actually a good sign because this means that the company owned by the same guy that owns GBTC will be holding the biggest position because these guys are getting liquidated. That explains the big premium drop, discount drop yesterday because of these people. Okay. See, it was filed in 2020. So these guys have probably gotten liquidated. I don't know how much they have now. Okay. I believe BlockFi had a lot. See, Barry himself has a lot of shares. This is good. If someone has an update to this, that would be great. Though this is pretty updated. Look, 3/31/2022. But this one is 2020. Weird. So ARK Investment has a lot. Where is BlockFi? I don't see BlockFi here. I thought BlockFi was heavily invested in GBTC as well. They might have been only buying into the trust. BlockFi might not have been holding the GBTC shares. So the fact that Barry Silbert is holding a lot of shares and the fact that Barry Silbert's Digital Currency Group is holding a lot of shares, this is a good sign. This is a sign that says they probably have not been hacked. Okay. Because if they were hacked, the one guy that would know is Barry Silbert, and he would not be holding GBTC shares. Okay. But he is holding them, which means that he's expecting that premium, that discount to go back to par. This is important. But this is insane. So it could certainly explain yesterday's crash in GBTC because Three Arrows Capital had to sell. Like we only look at these things like after shit hits the fan, right? Because then we start asking the right questions. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. Let's see how the markets close, and I'm probably going to call it a day at the top of the hour, but I'll try to do another stream later. Oil is pulling back hard. Interesting. That is very interesting. Geopolitically, oil is pulling back. So what's my reason for that? My reason for that is I think this recession is going to be serious. And just like in 2020, when oil prices hit negative levels, companies are just going to shut down and they're not going to need the energy. I know my businesses are seriously feeling the effects. Yellow says, this dump made me make an OnlyFans. Anyone remembers a website called Exotica? Do a thumbs up if you've been in the crypto space long enough to remember Exotica. I had an account on Exotica in the early days. That was 2 bear markets ago. I think that was the 2015 bear market, maybe the 2017 one. But we were doing like economic shows on Exotica. So Exotica started with letter X. So it was Exotica. Yep. It was back in the days of Bitcoin Uncensored. Gold still being a basket case. We're going to talk about oil next week. Geopolitics is interesting. The S&P 500 will also hit an MRI buy on Monday. I still have stupid hopes that Bitcoin price will rebound this weekend and into Monday. Was Exotica porn? No, it wasn't porn. It was similar. It was pre-OnlyFans. Exotica was I guess there was some elements of it that were porn. It was a cam girl website or cam person website. Let's not be sexist. And because it was run by Bitcoiners, a bunch of Bitcoiners had accounts there and shows there that weren't porn, but they were like stuff like this, like what I'm doing now, which went against, you know, what Exotica was meant to be. But it was fun because it was like crypto integrated. So people had to like tip in crypto and stuff. And I never really withdrew any crypto tips that I got on Exotica, and then the Exotica kind of stopped. Well, like it kind of died out, so I never even like took the I never even took anything off of it. But then you kind of use it to like tip others, right? So it's like this ecosystem that encourages you to get crypto in or Bitcoin, and it was Bitcoin only. It encourages you to get Bitcoin in, but it doesn't really encourage you to pull it out. So then it's like, hey, I got all these tips, and there are all these other things you can watch on Exotica. So let me just tip those other people. So we are sitting right at support on the S&P. Guys, like I said, I don't know what's going to reverse the S&P. Everyone is expecting a 1929 crash, and I am one of the few people that isn't. I am literally one of the only people that is not expecting a 1929 style crash. The S&P is down 25% from the January top. And I think we're going to probably fall 30%. And after that, I think the markets are going to turn around. I hope Joe Biden steps down. and that would rally the markets. Is oh yeah, I'm already 1 minute over. Are we breaking 19K to the downside? I don't think so. Yes, we are. Wait, so did we break 19K or not? We did. According to this, we did. So according to the hourly chart, we broke 19K. But according to the daily chart, we did not break 19K. And I'm using the same exact. Oh, no, we did. I'm sorry. 18.7. Okay, we did break it. We did break 19K. Low was 18.7. All right, so I am gonna get going. Guys, follow the chess games today. Bitcoin supporter Rajibov is in the candidates tournament. Says a tournament for like the 8 best players of the year in chess, and the winner gets to play Magnus. The winner gets to play the best player in the world. So we're rooting for Rajibov to win. I am. Also, this is the Financial Summit, Dominican Republic, a little over 1 month away. Come and join us. And on the geopolitical front, this is a problem. That's a problem. So Lithuania, so for those that don't know, oh, I hate when that happens. If you want to know what's going on the military front, and it does affect your portfolio, because capital could really flee Europe. For those that want to keep an eye on that, this is the Financial Summit YouTube channel, by the way. The channel I recommend is Military Summary. It does a great job talking about the military back and forth, though it seems to be one-sided lately, between Ukraine, Russia, and also Syria. Like this channel doesn't only do Russia, Ukraine. It also does videos about the military conflict in Syria as well. Not as often, but somewhere here. Yeah, there you go. This right here is Syria. So it's a general channel to get you up to speed on, this is his job, basically. He just like searches, like stays on top of all the military advancements and retreats and just gives you an update. And this video right here is so depressing if you are, well, if you think Ukraine is gonna kick Russia's ass, this is not the video to watch. Because I'm like, holy shit. It's like in every single side of this red wave, like Russia was like advancing and making ground. In any case, in this Ukraine battle, this area is probably the most important. And if this area falls to Russia, they will then move all their forces and give themselves a buffer again to prevent shelling of Donetsk. That's a huge army coming down once this is resolved. Now, what I want to talk about or mention is this part of Russia. Right here. This is Russia. This is Russia because after World War II, they needed an outlet to this waterway, this sea. So this is Russia. You can see how it is surrounded by Poland and Lithuania, 2 NATO nations. Russia is very protective of Kaliningrad. Lithuania already cut off airspace for Russia to get airplanes to here. which I'm surprised they were able to do. Now the news today is that Lithuania is going to stop railway export and import. So if Lithuania starts to starve the Russians in here, I'm telling you guys right now, there will be no Lithuania. It will not exist. It will be a distant memory because Russia will not let their people in here starve. So if Lithuania wants to play these games and start to starve the Russians, here, there will be no more Lithuania. Now, if there is no more Lithuania, that will actually start a real war between NATO and the United States, because Lithuania is part of NATO. So this is not something you want to wake up to if you live anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, because this is a problem. And if Latvia has a problem with the fact that there might not be a Lithuania, there will also be no more Latvia. And part of my family moved to Latvia, actually. My grandma is buried in Riga, Latvia. So every time I go to Riga, I go to, pay my respects, and I go to the cemetery and I visit my grandma's grave. She's buried in Riga, Latvia. My dad moved from Ukraine to Latvia when he was a kid. Well, not a kid, but like teenager. Someone is saying Russia already lost 30% of its best forces. Where are you getting this information? Because from the sources that I am reading, Russia maybe lost 5% of not their very best forces. So the fact that you think that Russia lost 30% of their best forces, and the fact that Lithuania might think that Russia lost 80% of their best forces, is giving them confidence to cut off a piece of Russia. That sounded like an air siren, but I'm not in a war zone right now. You have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to politics. Well, I do know that if Russian people are not being able to get food in here, Russia is going to do something about it. I don't know where I'm wrong in this logic. I would love to hear an analysis how I'm wrong. Anyway, so you want to keep an eye on this situation, because if this area becomes a conflict, that's a direct confrontation between NATO and Russia. Right now, it's a proxy war. It will no longer be a proxy war. It's going to be a real war. I've said it before. What's happening right now is not a real war. If this area, if this area becomes a conflict, that's a real war. That's troops on the ground between NATO and Russia. And guess where the battleground is going to be? Latvia, Lithuania, and then Poland. Can they not ship food from St. Petersburg? Yes, they can also ship food from space, but they're not going to do that. it's the same argument that people gave to Crimea. It's the same argument. Like when Crimea became Russia in 2014, Ukraine built a dam and cut off fresh water to Crimea. And the reason was, well, if it's no longer our land, we're no longer responsible for fresh water to Crimea. It's not our, like Ukraine said, it's not our problem, it's your problem, Russia. So Russia was providing fresh water to Crimea by sea, by water, by this little bridge. So Russia was now responsible for fresh water to what they considered their territory of Crimea, because Ukraine had stopped the movement of fresh water into Crimea. And Russia did that for like 8 years until they took this area, blew up the dam, and there is now fresh water going to Crimea. So to answer your question, yes, they can send food and other resources to Kaliningrad from St. Petersburg by sea, but it's a lot more complicated, it's a lot more expensive, and eventually they're going to get so sick of it that they're just going to send their military and build a land bridge into Kaliningrad, the way they just did with Ukraine. So these are very dangerous geopolitical games that these countries are playing, and this affects your portfolio if you are oblivious to how things might progress going forward. Someone is saying Russia has no navy. Why does Russia need a navy? Explain to me why Russia needs a navy. Russia is a land power. Why does Russia need a navy? If Russia intended to invade USA, they would need a very powerful navy. Why does Russia need a navy? Also explain why America needs a navy if they plan to fight Russia. How are Americans going to get their navy into Russia? Like, just explain the logic, please. Yeah, like I said, of course you can ship goods to Kaliningrad from St. Petersburg by sea, not by land. Just like Russia was shipping fresh water to Crimea because Ukraine cut off fresh water to Crimea. But after doing that for an unreasonably long amount of time, plus all the other reasons, Russia said, you know what, we're tired of shipping water to Crimea, so we have to take this area sooner than later so that fresh water from the river can actually get to Crimea. This was not very. This wasn't talked about in the Western media. One of the first things Russia did at the start of the conflict was blow up a dam to provide fresh water to Crimea through land, not through shipping. I mean, it's kind of like me taking away your car and telling you, hey, why don't you just walk? You can walk, you can go to your grocery store, you can buy all your shopping, just walk. What's the problem? This is a problem. This is a real global problem. You don't want to ignore this. Like, to me, this is a very serious Reuters headline this morning. Or yesterday morning. I just saw, oh, yes, last night. I just saw it this morning. This is not a joke. This is the potential escalation between NATO and Russia. If you are ignoring this headline, I mean, only a complete moron would ignore this headline. This is a serious problem. Yep, we're making new lows. Well, if this conflict between Russia and NATO escalates, there may be nothing to own. Well, this is why we're going to wait and see how this MRI buy candle plays out. I still think there could be a rally later today, but we will see. All right, I got to run. I'm telling you guys, keep an eye on this. I know Bitcoiners don't care about geopolitics, but it's really important. It's really important. Keep an eye on this area. You make it sound like Russia invaded just to provide water to Crimea. That is such a stupid comment that it's not even worth commenting. Do you guys realize there is a dozen reasons as to why Russia invaded Ukraine? And anytime someone talks about one of those reasons, everyone else is like, well, that's not an important enough reason. Well, I agree, it's not. Russia invading Ukraine to provide fresh water to Crimea is an insane reason to invade Ukraine. But it's not the only reason. There is a dozen reasons. You got to look at the situation in aggregate. You can't look at it as a single cause and effect. But there's clearly a giant buffer now. The first thing they did was blow up a dam and provide fresh water. So it was clearly important. I mean, we're looking at hindsight here. It was very important for them. As you can see from the map, it was very important. It's very important for them. You can see it in hindsight to take this area and open up the waterway. Chris, I agree with your comment. What's dangerous is putting Russia in a corner where they have nothing to lose. Yep. That's the same for every human. This does not apply only to Russia. Will Russia help India against China in case of conflict? I think the India-China conflict gets blown out of proportion by American media, just like they're blowing up Taiwan versus China conflict out of proportion. I think the conflict between India and China is not that serious, and I think they can resolve it on their own. And I mean, Russia is not in any position to help resolve that conflict. But if this situation in Ukraine ends, Russia might be in a position to help India and China resolve their conflict. I have absolutely no idea. I got to go. Thank you all for watching, and see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.